Hey, it's Allan Arkush. Welcome to The Last Reel. And this reel continues my exploration of how did we get here? How did the books and movies and TV shows of the 1950s shape the next 75 years? It's a cultural autobiography, or as I like to call it, How I Became a Teenage Beatnik.
I will talk to you of art, for there is nothing else to talk about, for there is nothing else. Life is an obscure hobo bumming a ride on the omnibus of art.
This satirical ode to beatitude was directed in 1959 by, of course, Roger Corman. The Beat generation rejected consumerism and mainstream culture. They embraced sexuality, drugs, and spiritualism. So, how did this nice boy from Jersey become so beatific? Dead. It was the books. Books and TV fed my obsession with storytelling. And this is where they kept all the books. Public school number 4. Every Friday we had a library class, and I would take out the maximum of 3 books. Then I talked my sister Claudia into taking out 2 more for me. Now I had a whole new bunch of literary imaginary friends. Tom Sawyer, the Hardy Boys, Dr. Dolittle. It became a quest to read every book in the library. In the center of town on Main Street was the public library. They had real literature there. Books like Animal Farm, Lord of the Flies, books that really challenged me. Where were you when Sputnik was circling above us? I was 9 years old, and now I had to worry about duck and cover, nuclear annihilation, and maybe a war of the satellites. I just dove into science fiction because maybe if I knew something about the future, people like Asimov, Heinlein, Bradbury, philosophical stuff.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Collected works of Dickens, collected works of George Bernard Shaw, poems by Browning, Shelley, Keats, books, all the books I'll need, all the books I'll ever want. April, May, this year, the next year, and the year after, and the year after that, and the year after that. And the best thing, the very best thing of all, is there's time now. There's all the time I need and all the time I want. Time. Ah, there's time enough at last. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. There was time now. There was all the time I needed. That's not fair. That's not fair.
show endures as one of the top 10 of all time, everywhere from TV Guide to the Writers Guild. Most of the scripts were written by Rod Serling, Charles Beaumont, and Richard Matheson. Each director brought something distinctive and stylish to the narrative. They were inspired by the great cast and by the material. There's books and annual must-watch marathons. In 1985, CBS revived the show and hired the Grateful Dead to do the music, which was an inspired choice. What's interesting about the feature version that all these top-notch directors grew up loving the Twilight Zone. Okay, what are your favorite episodes? We're all traveling to another dimension, a dimension of sight and sound and mind. A journey to a wondrous land whose boundaries are the imagination. What's our next stop? This is my alma mater, Fort Lee High School. It's been around since 1928, and when I was there in the mid-60s, the curriculum had basically remained unchanged. Unlike Burgess Meredith, the school board there didn't revere books. They banned them. Many of them. I had to buy my own copies of 1984 and Fahrenheit 451. The only guidance that I got was stay away from JD Salinger. So I did a book report on Franny and Zoe. Was the principal correct? Was I a nonconformist? I did feel like an outlier, like the Beatnik on my favorite TV show, Dobie Gillis. Two thoughts on that show. I had a huge crush on Tuesday Wells.
Once I had a secret love that lived within the heart of me.
And I did identify with the Beatnik, Maynard G. Krebs.
Impossible, ridiculous, unbelievable freaks of nature.
You right?
You right? Oh, Mr. Krebs, welcome.
Over near where I lived, I had this old warehouse, see?
No, it don't go like... It goes like this.
My name's Eddie Cagle. Pleased to meet you, your beardship.
Likewise. My name is Maynard G. Krebs. Your friendship?
What's the G stand for?
Walter.
Who's this type?
I'm Maynard's best friend, Dobie Gillis, and this is Stephanie Trowbridge.
Hi there. Hi. Come on, Maynard, let's cut out.
You-
Dobie, that was a wonderful suggestion. Why don't the four of us all go dancing at the Peabody Roof?
Yeah.
Dancing? Me?
Her?
Oh, come now.
Stephanie, I'm worried.
Why, Dobie? You always said you wanted Maynard to find a soulmate.
True, but somehow I kind of hoped it'd be a girl.
My daddy says, show me a man without a crease in his trousers and I'll show you a failure.
Oh, I agree. You know, I have pants hangers for my pants.
Oh, isn't that nice?
And coat hangers for my coats.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Not the wire hangers, but the big wooden type that are shaped to fit a person's own shoulders.
What a splendid idea. How many suits would you say you had?
Oh, well, I'd have to check. I mean, I really couldn't say offhand.
Hey.
All I can tell you is that my closet is 16 feet long.
Oh, golly.
Say, would you like to come over after school and take a look at my suits?
Oh, could I?
Oh, now, just a minute. You and I had a date after school.
Did we?
You're darn right we did.
I don't remember your asking me.
Well, let me refresh in your memory. Didn't I come up to you this morning and ask you to go to the ice cream parlor after school?
Yes, I believe you did. And what did I say?
You said yes.
Try again, Dopey.
Well, you intimated
What
that...
were my exact words?
No.
Correct.
Boom, boom, kerboom.
What are you gonna do? We're the Beat Generation.
In 1965, I had no idea who these members of the Beat generation were, nor did I suspect that they were going to change America and my life. This music, I didn't even know that it had been recorded down the street from my high school. The musicians who played on these records, they must have driven right past my school while I was staring out this window, not applying myself or living up to my full potential. 65 years ago, in English class, fate stepped in, and I mean fate with a capital F. Mr. Ferrara had the flu, and the substitute teacher looked like a college student with long hair. He announced that today's lesson is Ode to a Grecian Urn. Beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That's all ye know on earth and all ye need to know. So, knowing that, let's take John Keats's advice and move on. How many of you have been to Palisades Amusement Park? That question struck me as odd because Palisades Amusement Park had dominated Fort Lee since it was built in 1898. It was inexpensive, packed with attractions, and had the world's tallest wooden roller coaster, the Cyclone. And the view of New York City and the Hudson River from the top of the Cyclone was epic. And then you plunged down at about what felt like 50 miles an hour. There was a saltwater pool with waves, and every weekend they had folk music concerts and rock concerts. Then the substitute painted a word picture of us about how he felt about amusement parks. The way you are transported, fearful, thrilled, and overwhelmed all at the same time. Suppose you could go there anytime you wanted because it was in your head. It was a Coney Island of the mind. That day we read poems that spoke to my teenage cynicism and anti-authoritarian attitudes that I still have today. The poet's eye, obscenely seeing, sees the surface of the round world. It's America, with its ghost towns and empty Ellis Islands, and its surrealistic landscape of mindless prairies, supermarket suburbs, steam-heated cemeteries, Cinerama holy days, and protesting cathedrals. This was my introduction to Lawrence Ferlinghetti, owner of City Lights Bookstore and its publisher and free speech hero. Coney Island of the Mind sold 1 million copies, and he used that money to battle J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI and all those Red Scare fanatics. But most important of all, he used that money to publish all the works of America's poet laureate, Allen Ginsberg. We read Howl that day, and it felt to me like the walls of Fort Lee High School were going to come tumbling down.
I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, dragging themselves through the Negro streets at dawn looking for an angry fix, angel-headed hipsters burning for the ancient heavenly connection to the starry dynamo and the machinery of night, who poverty and tatters and hollow-eyed and high sat up smoking in the supernatural darkness of cold water flats, floating across the tops of cities, contemplating jazz.
In the early 1950s, the nation recognized in its midst a social movement called Beat Generation. A novel titled On the Road became a bestseller, and its author, Jack Kerouac, became a celebrity, partly because he'd written a powerful and successful book, and partly because he seemed to be the embodiment of this new generation. Jack and I made an album together a few months back in which I played background piano for his poetry reading. And at that time, I made a note to book him on the show because I thought you would enjoy meeting him. So here he is, Jack Kerouac. Interesting. How long did it take you to write On the Road?
3 weeks.
How many?
3 weeks.
3 weeks? Jeez, that's amazing. How long were you on the road itself?
7 years.
7 years.
Well, a lot of people have asked me why did I write that book or any book. All the stories I wrote were true because I believed in what I saw. I was traveling west one time at the junction of the state line of Colorado, its arid western one, and the state line of poor Utah. I saw in the clouds, huge and massed above the fiery golden desert of Evenfall, the great image of God with forefinger pointed straight at me, through halos and rolls and gold folds that were like the existence of a gleaming spear in his right hand, which saith, "Come on, boy, go thou across the ground. Go moan for man. Go moan. Go groan." Anyway, I wrote the book because we're all gonna die. In the loneliness of my life, my father dead, my brother dead, my heart broke in the general despair. So in the last page of On the Road, I describe how the hero, Dean Moriarty's come to see me all the way from the West Coast just for a day or two. We've just been back and forth across the country several times in cars, and now our adventures are over. We're still great friends, but we have to go into later phases of our lives. So there he goes, Dean Moriarty, ragged in a moth-eaten overcoat he brought specially for the freezing temperatures of the East, walking off alone, and last I saw him, he rounded the corner of 7th Avenue, eyes on the street ahead, and bent to it again. Gone.
That's Jack Kerouac, master storyteller. He wrote 14 books full of memorable characters. They seem so real to me because they were. They were the people he knew. Dharma Bums, for instance, is all about the scene in San Francisco. I love this book. It's my favorite. I've read it 3 or 4 times. It's all about the parties, the wild nights, jazz, and the first poetry reading of Howl, and the introduction of Zen Buddhism into American culture. He had taken all these sprawling events, found the central narrative, and wrote the books with the speed of mid-century America. He was on the pulse, and in turn, millions of people read them and loved this new, exciting work. Now, 2 of those people were gifted and successful writers Sterling Silliphant and Hubert B. Leonard. They were taken with this idea of 2 young, intellectually adventurous guys whose mission was freedom. So, they put these friends into a new Corvette and sent them roaring down Route 66 and turned it into a groundbreaking series. All 116 episodes were shot on the road in a new location with new characters each week. I loved it. Here's a tease.
$222 for your thoughts. Talk about inflation. Anyway, we've only got $219 saved. Interest. We've got interest for the first quarter coming. Still isn't very much for 3 months and 5,000 miles. Well, how many guys do you know that have knocked around the way we have and still made it pay? Oh, we sure make it pay. Almost lynched in Garth, drowned in Grand Isle, beat up in New Orleans, blown away by a dust storm in Kanab, and arrested in Spare Falls. Our trouble is we have no status. Who wants status? You've got status, you've got strings. You got strings, you're a puppet. Who wants to be a puppet? Besides, it's the times that's bugging you, Todd. That's what it is, just the times. No, that's no excuse, Buzz. It's always the times. We just don't belong anywhere. I mean, everywhere we go, we're just passing through. We're strangers.
That's what this reel has been all about. Stories. And in the next reel, we'll get into that Corvette on Route 66 with Todd and Buzz. But let's let Jack Kerouac wrap it up for us.
So, in America, when the sun goes down, and I sit on the old broken down river pier watching the long, long skies over New Jersey, and sense all that raw land that rolls in one unbelievable huge bulge over to the west coast? And all that road going? And all the people dreaming in the immensity of it? In an hour, I know by now that children must be crying in the land where they let the children cry. And tonight the stars will be out. The evening star must be drooping and shedding her sparkler dims on the prairie, which is just before the coming of complete night that blesses the earth, darkens all the rivers, cups the peaks, and folds the final shore in. Nobody knows what's going to happen to anybody besides the forlorn rags of growing old. Think of Dean Moriarty, I even think of old Dean Moriarty, the father we never found. Think of Dean Moriarty, I think of Dean Moriarty.
That's the end of this last reel, and as always, we try to be both entertaining and educational. So, until you return to your place on the couch, remember the words of Bob Dylan, dig yourself.